on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. We'll take a trip down to the manager's office to hear from Mike Shildt. Plus, we'll bring you scores from around Major League Baseball. The Padres postgame show starts now on the Padres Radio Network.
3-2 the count. Pitch on the way. Swung on. Grounded to shortstop. Kim's got the big hop. Steps towards first. The throw in. Plenty of time. And the ball game is over. Dylan Cease and his buddies shut out the Braves 4-0 here this afternoon. A dominant start from the Georgia native as the Padres snap their 5-game skid and pick out their 5th shutout win of the season.
Dylan Cease with a dazzling performance here on this Saturday afternoon at Petco Park as the Padres shut out the Atlanta Braves by a final score of 4-0. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll hear from Dylan Cease, who is absolutely brilliant today. We'll have more on him in a moment. We'll take you through all the radio highlights and much, much more to come as the Padres snap this 5-game losing skid. They take the middle game of this 3-game series, and it sets up the rubber game of this series tomorrow afternoon as we wrap up the first half of the 2024 season. We've got selfies going on, selfie time. Hello, hello. Good to have you here at Petco Park on what was a gorgeous Saturday afternoon, and the story begins and really ends in this game with Dylan Cease. On a day where the Padres needed a starting pitching performance like this, 6 shutout innings, 1 hit given up. He walked 3, struck out 11, really 1 inning in this game where he ran into trouble, was able to navigate out of it, and he was just terrific in this game here tonight. And Dylan Cease picks up his 8th win of the year. Quite a way to go into the All-Star break for Dylan individually. There were a lot of other really important aspects to this game offensively, so let's get a little bit into that. Padres here today, 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. An RBI double by David Peralta in the 2nd. An RBI double by Luis Arraez in the 5th inning. An RBI single in the 6th inning from Peralta again, who had a big day. This was a much, much better offensive day for the Padres than really anything like what we saw the last 4 games. Keep this in mind, the Padres entering today in their last 4 games only had 2 hits with runners in scoring position in the last 4 games combined. Here today they had 3. And baseball, as we always say, can be a really funny game because we talked in the pregame about Reynaldo Lopez not just being terrific this season, but being especially good with runners in scoring position. Opponents entering today were just 4 for 65 combined on the year. That's 0.62 with runners in scoring position, just 1 extra base hit with runners in scoring position against Lopez this season. Wouldn't you know it, here today, the Padres had 2 extra base hits with runners in scoring position against Reynaldo Lopez. So they were able to cash in when they had opportunities. They were able to cash in against the guy in Lopez, who is really, really tough when he has guys on base. And really nice job offensively from the Padres. A couple of stolen bases, really critical in this game as well. We will get into all of it. But you look at really 2 elements here today. Obviously, Dylan Cease, the headline, 6 brilliant innings on a day where the Padres really, really needed a great starting pitching performance. And the offense here today, finally able to create some traffic, cash in with runners in scoring position. You look at the box score here tonight. Luis Arraez, 3 hits. Manny Machado, 3 hits, including a late home run to give the Padres a little breathing room. Donovan Solano, a couple of hits. David Peralta had 3 hits and a couple of RBIs in this game. So all in all, a really nice win, snaps a 5-game skid, and we'll see if the Padres can win this series tomorrow as they wrap up the first half of 2024. When we come back, we'll hear from Dylan Cease. We'll also hear from Mike Shildt. We'll take you through all the radio highlights as we wrap this one up. Final score here today, Padres 4 and the Braves nothing on the Padres Radio Network. Our postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the lofts here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up on a gorgeous Saturday, late afternoon, turning into early evening here in America's finest city. Padres beat the Atlanta Braves by a final score of 4-0 here today. We'll hear from Dylan Cease in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Dylan Cease, absolutely brilliant in this ball game here today. He really was. Just a terrific outing from him. Like I said in the opening segment, the offense here today, a big part of this win, much more encouraging. What we saw at the top of the lineup from Luis Arraez, Manny Machado had 3 hits, David Peralta had 3 hits, and a couple of RBIs in this game. So much more encouraging from the Padres offense, and the Padres cruise to a nice win, snap a 5-game losing skid. They avoid their first 6-game losing skid of the season, and again, we'll hear from Dylan Cease here in a moment. We'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, and we'll have all the radio highlights coming up for you later on in this segment. Once again, the final line here today for Dylan Cease: 6 innings, no runs, 1 hit, walked 3, struck out 11, a grand total of 106 pitches, 69 for strikes. He was very much in the zone today, as you'll hear in a moment. When he was missing, it was not by much, and I caught up with Dylan on the field right after the game. Dylan, a terrific outing here today. 6 innings, 1 hit given up, 11 strikeouts. What was the most important element of what you did here today?
I think, throwing strikes is the biggest one. I did walk a couple of guys, but just pounding the zone and being aggressive.
Let's talk about a couple of those walks. In the 4th inning, you get into trouble. How were you able to navigate yourself out of that situation?
I think just focus and attack. It's my misses didn't feel like they were very big, so I kind of just felt like I was in a good spot, and basically just don't panic and keep attacking.
2 really nice outings to finish the first half. How do you feel like this sets you up moving forward into the second half?
Yeah, it's great. Today was what I've been really looking for, so I'm happy it happened, and we got to keep it rolling.
Finally, another sold-out crowd here at Petco Park. What has it been like for you to pitch in front of these types of crowds?
It's amazing. It's like, it truly is the major leagues, loud, electric, and just supportive. It's such an amazing atmosphere to pitch in.
Dylan, great job here today. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was Dylan Cease after today's win. A terrific outing for Dylan. 6 scoreless innings, 1 hit, 3 walks, struck out 11, picks up his 8th win of the season. Absolutely dynamite here today was Dylan Cease as the Padres win it 4-0. I have somebody celebrating a birthday here today. It's Isaiah celebrating his 10th birthday here at Petco Park. So happy birthday, Isaiah. All right. Coming to say hello with family and friends. You have a good time at the game tonight, Isaiah? Yeah, you like the Padres win? What was your favorite part? Getting those balls. All right, got some baseballs. Very nice. Well, happy 10th birthday. Even have your own rally towel. That is absolutely awesome. Isaiah, happy birthday. Thank you for coming to say hello, okay? Have a good rest of your birthday. Thanks for saying hi. Here we go. We're celebrating Isaiah's birthday here on the Padres Radio Network. Very, very nice. Well, there was a lot of celebrating to do here at Petco Park today. Padres picked up their 50th win of the season. They're now 50-48. Let's recap this one from the first pitch to the final out.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
Dylan Cease started the day by delivering 2 scoreless innings. After a scoreless bottom of the first inning, Braves right-hander Reynaldo Lopez took the mound for the bottom of the second. Donovan Solano was on first base. He stole second with 2 outs, and David Peralta at the plate. Then Peralta did this.
Here's the pitch from Lopez, hit in the air to left field. Rosario going back towards the corner. Going to be over his head. It's a fair ball. Hops over the little wall. Hits the Western Metal Building. It'll be a rule book double. And thanks to the stolen base, Solano able to come in and score. And the Padres lead it 1-0.
So the Padres had an early lead. Dylan Cease continuing to throw up zeros. A 1-2-3 top of the third. He worked around 2 walks and a wild pitch in the fourth inning. A 1-2-3 fifth inning. Padres still led 1-0 going bottom 5. Tyler Wade reached on an infield single. Lopez never got off the mound to cover first base on a ground ball, and Wade beat Matt Olson to the bag. Wade then stole second. Luis Arraez at the dish.
3-1 hit hard on a line down the right field side. A fair ball going to go to the corner and double the lead. Wade scores a rise into second, an RBI 2 bagger, and the Padres up 2-0 here in the fifth.
Third hit of the day for Luis Arraez. Dylan Cease, meanwhile, continued to roll. He faced the heart of the Braves lineup in the top of the sixth inning. He struck out Ozzie Albies. He struck out Austin Riley. That was his 10th K of the day. Matt Olson was next.
Trying to work a 1-2-3-6. Here's the 0-2. Olson swings and misses. Strike 3. Back foot slider, and Cease strikes out this side here in the sixth. 11 strikeouts on the afternoon.
6 scoreless innings here today for Dylan Cease. 11 Ks, like Jesse said, just 1 hit allowed. We went bottom 6. The Padres rallied again. There were runners on first and third. 2 men away for David Peralta.
0-2 again. Peralta lines it into right field. Duvall charging in. Can't get there. Has to play it on a hop. Manny will come in and score. Third hit of the game for Peralta. An RBI single, and the Padre lead is 3-0.
Padres bullpen took over after that. Jeremiah Estrada pitched the scoreless top of the 7th. Adrian Morajón did the same in the top of the 8th inning. Padres still led 3-0. Going to the bottom half of the 8th, Manny Machado provided a little breathing room.
2-2 hit in the air to deep center field. Kelnick is going back on the warning track. He's at the wall, gonna go. Third hit of the game for Machado, a big one. A homer here in the 8th, and the Padre lead is 4-0.
A 4-0 Padres lead. Not a safe situation for Robert Suarez in the top half of the 9th inning, but the Padres, with the All-Star break looming on Monday, they went to him anyway. Suarez got the first out of the inning, struck out Matt Olson. Then he got Marcell Ozuna to line out to left for out number 2. Things got a little bit interesting from there. Adam Duvall a single, Eddie Rosario a single. The game was left up to Atlanta's Sean Murphy.
3-2 the count. Pitch on the way. Swung on. Grounded to shortstop. Kim's got the big hop. Steps towards first. The throw in. Plenty of time. And the ball game is over. Dylan Cease and his buddies shut out the Braves 4-0 here this afternoon. A dominant start from the Georgia native as the Padres snap their 5-game skid and pick out their 5th shutout win of the season.
A big win for the Padres here today. 4-0 the final score. 4 runs on 13 hits. No errors for the Padres. For Atlanta, no runs, 5 hits, and no errors. Again, the Padres now 50-48. Braves dropped to 52-42. Dylan Cease picks up the win, his 8th of the season. Padres beat a guy going to the All-Star game in Reynaldo Lopez, who came in with a sub-2 ERA, and they found a way to get 3 runs in 6 innings against Reynaldo Lopez, and that was that here today. Padres go on to win it 4-0. All right, when we come back here on the Padres Radio Network, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, so stay tuned for that. I do have a little programming note for you. If you are watching on YouTube right now, for all our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter viewers, well, what we're going to try to do here is keep the audio on for you. I'll be 100% honest with you here. I forgot my laptop charger. It's in the press box. My battery is not very charged, so the laptop's going to die here pretty soon. So the video's going to go out. We'll try to keep the audio on for you, but you may not see me for the rest of the post-game show. So sorry about that. Just if you're watching, that's what's going to happen here shortly. But with all that said, Padres win it 4-0 against the Atlanta Braves. We'll hear from Mike Shildt when we come back on the Padres Radio Network. Our postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Final score, Padres 4 and the Braves nothing as the Padres snap a 5-game skid. They improved to 50-48 on the year, so the Padres do guarantee that they will end the first half, the pre-All-Star break portion of the schedule, above 500, and now an opportunity to win a series against Atlanta tomorrow. Would be the second series win against the Braves if they can get it tomorrow. And you know what? Take a little momentum into the All-Star break after dropping the last 5 in a row. We'll see if the Padres can accomplish that tomorrow. Sam Levitt with you inside the lofts here at the Western Metal Building as we wrap this one up. Again, Dylan Cease, a big story in this game. 6 brilliant innings, struck out 11, allowed just 1 hit. The offense had plenty of juice today. Luis Arraez, 3 hits, an RBI double in the 5th inning, 3 hits for David Peralta, including 2 RBIs. Manny Machado had 3 hits in this game, including a home run in the 8th inning, so gave the Padres some breathing room, made it 4-0 in the 8th. That was one of 3 hits for him, couple of runs scored. Donovan Solano, his return to the lineup today, really good. 2 hits, big stolen base in this game. Tell you what, Solano, when he's in there, he's just incredibly productive. He really, really is. So he was very, very good once again here today. In the Padres bullpen, too, Jeremiah Estrada, Adrian Morejon, Robert Suarez, sort of the big 3 in that bullpen right now when you talk about who the Padres go to late in close games. They were great here today. 3 scoreless innings from the trio of Estrada, Morejon, and Suarez. Let's go downstairs here at Petco Park and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Make it a 2-parter.
Okay.
Was your assessment of Dylan Cease, and how important is that version of Dylan Cease to this team?
He was electric. I mean, that's talking about coming out hot. Ooh. I mean, he always has life on his ball, but today it was, really, really crisp. Coming out, good hitting club. And he was throwing the ball very, very well. Also, pretty much throwing it where he wanted to. Had the slider going, mixed in a few curveballs, but man, he had 2+ pitches working. So he was dynamic, as good as you're going to see. I just loved the way he carried himself too, just asserted his will. How important is that version? Yeah, it's clearly important when we get our guys to perform to their capabilities. And the timing of it today was important as well. So nice job by him in the bullpen, and just good baseball game. Had, well played all phases. Got the time of hitting, 3 2-out RBIs. Stole some bags, played clean defense. It was just a well-played baseball game by us.
I think tomorrow will be your 99th game. It means there's a lot of games after the break, but going into the break, how important to have games like this to feel good for 4 days? And
yeah, no, I mean, we expect to play them. We played a lot of them. Today was important. Clearly, we hadn't been able to be on the good side of it as more recently. So, yeah, today being able to put it all together where we get, it was a playoff-type game. You had 2 frontline guys going. Lopez was good again. He's tough. 2 good lineups, 2 good clubs. Margin fair in the game's not great. Solano being able to grab a bag, and then Peralta was big. Ground rule double means he scores, and, way to grab a bag earlier. Likely scores on a rise double, but nonetheless. And then Peralta, and then, of course, Manny, 3 knocks, rope to left and the ball to dead center. That's a good sign as well. So just overall good ball game. And let's give Kimmy credit. Well, Wadey first. I mean, the guy comes in, doesn't play a lot, and makes a hustle play, grabs a bag, scores a run, and Kimmy goes in and makes a nice play in the 8th to get us a big out.
Slider, is that something, because obviously he doesn't score if he's not on second?
Yeah, we pick our spots. They all have the green light.
All right, it's 3 hits today. What did you think the way he's swinging today and the way he's been going?
Yeah, no, I mean, he was controlling the barrel today. Controls it pretty much every day. I say that he's actually taking some good swings today. He's put some balls right at people. He's hit some balls hard right at people. Second base, first base, lined out to left, drove the ball and just not gotten any love. But today he was able to find some holes, leads off the game, knocked down the left field line, was able to get one by Arcia, and then he got the head out and drove the ball down the line for that big double that gave us some insurance. So I thought he looked like he was in a pretty good spot.
Obviously, you had your 3 top-line high-leverage guys. You got a pitcher who's throwing as hard in the 6th as he has all season. Any thought at all to having him go more than 106 pitches?
I mean, in today's game, no. No, we'll leave it at that. I mean, he did his part. He emptied his tank, throwing a hundo in the 6th, pretty spectacular. We also brought in some guys with some pretty good arms as well. I mean, we had some firepower today. Estrada was throwing upper 90s to 100, and Morihone same way, and Suarez same deal. So we threw some fire at him today.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this game. 4-0, the Padres beat the Atlanta Braves here at Petco Park. You heard Mike talk about Dylan Cease there, and that was a good question there by Kevin, because Dylan was throwing hard here today, and hard in that 6th inning. In fact, he really finished this outing with a flurry, if you will. Albies, Riley Olsen, like we said during the recap, 2-3-4 in the Braves lineup, struck out the side in that 6th inning. So he was great here today, really, really was, and I thought exactly what the doctor ordered as far as a really good, strong pitching performance, and it wasn't like this was some sort of blowout here today. I mean, the Padres had a 1-0 lead, then a 2-0 lead after 5, a 3-0 lead after 6. They did a good job capitalizing on their opportunities against a really, really good starting pitcher in Reynaldo Lopez, who's been about as good as anybody in baseball this season. In fact, came into this game leading the majors in ERA among guys with at least 75 innings of work. So all in all, this was a really nice win, the way the Padres were able to cash in with runners in scoring position, the way they were able to get a great starting pitching performance from Dylan Cease, and then had their bullpen lined up exactly how they would want it, with Estrada, Morihone, and Suarez, 7, 8, 9 out of the bullpen today, and they were great. 3 scoreless innings from that trio. And again, Adrian Morihone, we talked about it the other day. If you missed my interview with him earlier this week, I thought it was really, really interesting. Some of the things he had to say to me about, his change in off-season routine, his mentality. I mean, he has really become a weapon for this team, and a high-leverage, late-inning guy. And when Morihone is pitching like the way he's pitching, and Estrada is pitching like the way he's pitched for the most part, and when Suarez is pitching like he's been all year, I think it's an elite trio back there potentially for this team. I do. I think it's a major strength. It really is. So if they can get it to those 3 guys, really in any kind of game with a lead, you feel good, I think, right now with those 3 guys at the back end. I think part of the problem has been having a lead late lately, and, the starting pitching getting it to him and the offense getting it to him. But when you get it to him and you have those 3 lined up ready to rock, it's a real nice trio in the back end of that bullpen between Estrada, Morihone, and Suarez. And we'll touch on one more thing here before we go to break. The stolen base in this game was really, really important. There were 2 instances of it. In the second scoreless game, Donovan Solano is on first base with 2 outs. David Peralta at the plate. Solano, who is not fast. I think we all understand that. I think Donovan would say that. He steals second base. That kind of came out of nowhere, and it was super important because Peralta hits a ground rule double that bounces over the fence after hitting the warning track, and if Solano is not on second base, he does not score on that ground rule double. He's on third. So the fact that Solano stole second, was in scoring position, that was a huge, huge moment in this game. And there was another example of the Padres being aggressive on the bases today. 2-out infield single from Tyler Wade. He steals second, and then Luis Arraez drives him in with an RBI double. Another good example of a stolen base being really impactful in this game. And the Padres there in the fifth inning took advantage of Reynaldo Lopez on that infield single from Wade, not covering first base. I think if Lopez gets off the mound quickly, covers first base, I think there's a really good chance they get Wade at first base. But Lopez never got off the mound. Wade beat Olsen to the bag, steals second, comes home on the Arraez double. So really nice base running all in all, whether you want to talk about the starting pitching, the bullpen work, the hits total, 13 of them here today, runners in scoring position, base running, stolen bases. I know the Padres had that miscue by Arraez in the first inning. We'll forget about that for now. But you really look top to bottom. This was a fairly, aside from the early base running miscues, a fairly clean, well-pitched, well-executed win, and you feel like it's exactly what they needed here today as the Padres win it 4-0. When we come back, we'll get into our daily awards. If you want to get a phone call in, phone number is always 833-288-0973. Again, 833-288-0973. As always, the phone number to call as we wrap it up here on the Padres Radio Network. Padres beat the Braves 4-0. More postgame after this. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Final score here today, Padres 4 and the Braves 0. Padres take the middle game of this 3-game series. They snap a 5-game skid. Still a lot to do. We'll go through our daily awards as we go along here in the next couple of segments. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll also start taking your phone calls in a moment as well. 833-288-0973. And we'll also get you ready for the rubber game of this series tomorrow. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
With Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Morihone dangling the left arm. Now he comes set. 2-2 to Riley. The pitch on the way is on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Second strikeout of the inning for Morihone. No runs, a hit, and Albies left at third base.
Adrian Morihone, a couple of Ks and a scoreless inning of work, working around a 2-out double in this game, a wild pitch. So for that reason, Morihone, our relief pitcher of the game. And look, it was really take your pick in this one. Estrada scoreless 7th, Morihone scoreless 8th inning, Suarez scoreless 9th inning. The reason I'll go with Morihone today, had a couple of Ks, did a good job working around trouble. Suarez did that as well in the 9th inning. But again, I continue to be very, very impressed with what Adrian Morihone has become and continues to do. He's got a 2.23 ERA now on the year. He's been really good. You know, I think you really think about it. Let's be honest. Going back to spring training, start of the year, I mean, could we have predicted, and this is just based on, you know, Morihone's ups and downs with the Padres in the major leagues. He's had some nice stretches, some not so good stretches. You know, the injury history. You always knew he had the stuff to be a legit electric back end of the bullpen type arm. If the Padres needed him, wanted him to be that, he's done it. I mean, you always knew it was in there stuff-wise, but he has put it together in a way that he has not put it together in years past. And for that reason, it's a very important part of this team. I mean, it really is. I mean, it gives them a left-handed, you know, flamethrower out of the bullpen late in games. I mean, I thought it was really interesting the way they used him today. That's a traditional setup role, 8th inning, 3-run game, bridging to Robert Suarez. So for all those reasons here today, Adrian Morihone, our relief pitcher of the game. He's been a real good story for this team in 2024. By the way, for those of you who watch on YouTube, I said earlier that my laptop died. I didn't have the power cord with me. Good news, and an applause to Frank Marchese, who is in the building today. Frank brought out my laptop charger, so we are back in business on the video streams. You can see my well-moisturized, smiling face on the post-game show right now. So if you watch on YouTube, maybe you flipped over to the radio side of things, don't worry, you can now go back to YouTube because the video is back on. I've received my charger, and we are back in business. All right, let's go to the phones. 833-288-0973. Again, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call is always. Let's lead things off here today with Mario calling in from National City. Hi, Mario. You're on the Padres postgame show. What's up?
Oh, man, it's all good, Sam. You know, anytime we get a victory like that, it's a great evening, man. It's a great, great evening. You know, I just have a couple of things to say as far as, you know, I like the manager and everything. I have nothing bad to say about the manager nor anybody else on the team. But at the end of the day, you know, when there's a man on first and you got a batter like Camposano, maybe Kim or somebody like that, I suggest that they bunt. You know, that way we stay out of the double plays. I mean, I don't expect Manny to bunt or Rise to bunt or any of the other guys, you know, but come on, you know, Camposano gets up there and he just kills the inning by going into hitting into a double play. So, you know, I kind of think at times the manager, he's a good manager, but I think there's times where you got to pick and choose, you know, okay, well, let's have Camposano go ahead and bunt, you know, and then stay out of the double play. That's what I was thinking when he was up to bat that was going to happen. But other than that, I have no gripes, man. Good game and a good evening, man, Sam. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, Mario, thank you for the phone call. Look, this is not the first phone call in the history of our nearly 3 seasons now of post-game shows that we've had somebody call up and talk about wanting to play more small ball, wanting to bunt. Look, a couple of thoughts on it. Number one, let's just be real about it. It's just not the way the game is played. And I know that's not a great answer for the bunting crowd out there, for the small ball crowd out there, but I'm just telling you what it is. It's not the way the game's played anymore. It's, for the most part, not what teams believe in. anymore. Look, the argument to bunt him, let's take that inning in the fifth with Campusano, okay? And I think I know you're referring to leadoff single for Peralta in the fifth inning. Campusano came up the next batter, grounded into a double play. There were 2 outs, nobody on. After that, the Padres actually ended up scoring later in that inning. The infield single from Wade stole second, a rise, a double, made it 2-0. So the Padres did get a run in that fifth inning. Look, Campusano grounds into a double play. It happens. It took some steam out of the inning. But not only is it just not what teams do, also in that fifth inning, it's really early in the game to be bunting. And again, Mario, to me, that sounded like what you were referring to. It's really early in the game to be bunting a guy over, a 1-0 game in the fifth inning, although it's a tight game, but it's really early to be doing that. It's the bottom third of the order. You've got Wade next. It's not really the part of the order where you're setting up a couple of guys with 1 out to have a couple of shots at getting that run in. And again, let's just focus on the Campusano example of this. How many times has Luis Campusano been asked to bunt in his professional career? I don't know the answer to that, but I'm willing to bet it's not very many because I spent a long time in minor league baseball. I'm telling you, in the minors and here in the major leagues now as well, it's rare. I mean, it's rare these days. So, Mario, I'm not saying you're wrong. Look, there's a lot of people out there that are proponents of small ball, okay? I just, for all those reasons, you're not going to see it. And it's, it's an art that has sort of gone by the wayside for the most part, and I don't think in that specific situation you're going to see it in particular because of the inning, the part of the order. Somebody like Campusano, again, I don't know how many times he's laid down a bunt. I'm going to assume it's not many, just based on his power and the type of player he was in the minor leagues. And the guys are just not asked to do it. So, we get calls like this a lot. I'm going to be honest about small ball, and my answer is kind of always the same. And I'm not saying if you're calling in talking small ball, you're wrong. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying you got to live in reality a little bit, and that's just not the way the game is anymore. If you like it, good for you. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. It's just not the way it is anymore. And especially, again, the particulars, I think, of the situation the caller was referring to, I don't think in any capacity you're seeing a bunt there. So, again, phone number 833-288-0973 if you want to get involved on our post-game coverage. We got no phone calls right now on the line. So if you want to call in, and so we'll be happy to put you on. Let's tell you about tonight's player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Paddy's and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
0-2 again. Peralta lines it into right field. Duvall charging in. Can't get there. Has to play it on a hop. Manny will come in and score. Third hit of the game for Peralta. An RBI single, and the Padre lead is 3-0.
David Peralta, player of the game here today. 3 hits, couple of RBIs. RBI double in the second. RBI single in the sixth inning to make it 3-0. Like you just heard, really nice day for Peralta, really was. So for that reason, David Peralta will be our player of the game in this one. Third time he's had 3 hits as a Padre here in 2024. So Padres still, and we've said it so many times, right? They need contributions up and down the lineup if they're going to win games here until somebody like Fernando gets back. They need to continue playing the way they've played when they've been at their best. Now, the 5-game losing streak, that has not been their best, no doubt about that. But you look at today, it's got to be what they've done well for the most part this year, and that is the pass the baton offense, move the line offense, guys stringing hits together. And look, they didn't have an explosive inning in this game. They never scored more than 1 run in any single inning in this game, but they did that nicely in the innings they did score. You look at the second, they had a couple of hits. You look at the fifth inning, they had 3 hits in that inning. You look at the sixth inning, they had 3 hits in that inning. They did, in a couple of innings, move the line enough to get it done against an excellent starting pitcher in Reynaldo Lopez. And it's worth noting how good Lopez has been. I mean, this has been one of the best pitchers in baseball this season, the 30-year-old Reynaldo Lopez. And we talked about the numbers earlier in the postgame. We talked about the numbers pregame. He is especially good, even better, when he's in trouble and runners in scoring position. And to the Padres' credit, they found a way to get him 3 times with runners in scoring position today. So, again, this was a very nice game for this team. You hope they can follow it up tomorrow, pick up a series win, but this was a really nice and you feel like much-needed win, the way they got it done. Good starting pitching and much better execution offensively. Let's go to Oceanside. It's Katie calling in. Hi, Katie. You're on the Padres postgame show. How are you?
Oh, so much better after a big victory, and now that my kid is home from camp, he wants to say hi real quick.
Hi. I was away at sleepaway camp for 12 days, and I really missed hearing your voice on the TV. So hi, I'm back now. Yay!
All right, thank you. Hope you had a good time at camp, but good to have you back listening.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make a comment real quick about those national broadcasters this afternoon. I have to admit I was a little frustrated when they talked about how in the National League Division Series that evidently it was our World Series when we beat the Dodgers. And I just have to say, as a 40-year fan and watching the Padres on national TV for a long time, I'm pretty frustrated with these national broadcasts, and I can't wait to have Don and Mud back.
Well, Katie, I've got the perfect solution for you. When the national TV broadcasts are on, you know who's always with you? Jesse, Tony. Well, today it was Bob, but you know the Padres radio crew. So, if you want to, you can always lower the volume on the TV and turn up the radio. Try to sync it up the best you can. I know that can be difficult, but we are always here for you. Yeah, we're always here for you, if you don't want to listen to the national guys. Now, look, I'm going to be totally transparent, and Katie, appreciate the phone call very much. And thank you for listening, and thank you, as always, for interacting. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm friendly with a lot of the broadcasters in baseball in general. You're not going to hear me bash any of the national TV guys personally. They're friends of mine. Many of them are mentors of mine. So I'm just going to be honest with you. Look, I understand when it's not your guys as a baseball fan forever growing up. I get it. When it's not your guys, it's not the same. Okay, and that's a local TV, local radio crew. I get it. So again, my advice: if you don't want to listen to the national TV broadcast, find a way. You can try on the Odyssey app. You can try on the MLB app. If you need help, you can DM me on it. I'll give you some ideas of how to do this. But you can sync it up to hear Jesse and Tony or Jesse and Bob today instead of the national TV guys. Okay? There's a way we are always here for you. So, we're here for you. Seriously, if you're out there and you need help, I'll give you some ideas on how to sync it up properly. I will. I'll give you some ideas on how to do it. So DM me, tweet at me, whatever. I'm happy to help. Let's go to Tanner calling in from San Diego. Hi, Tanner. You're on the Padres postgame show with Sam Levitt. How are you?
Hey, Sammy. Just want to say, big fan. Love what you're doing for the team. You've been really, really, really good for us. And I'm just stoked on these Padres, man. So thank you for everything.
All right, Tanner. Any thoughts on today's game? Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. What you got for today?
So, unfortunately, I missed the game today. I saw 11 strikeouts for Cease, which is huge if he can get going for us late. And Peralta, love that he's hitting the ball hard like he was against us when he was on the D-backs all the time. So that's awesome.
Yeah, good point.
But one thing I want to hear your thoughts on is I've heard Chris and Glenn talk about it a little bit, but what happens to the lineup when Xander comes back? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, Tanner, appreciate the phone call. Well, Xander's been back. He was back yesterday. He did not play here today, so we saw the Xanderless lineup here today. So what it looked like today was Solano at third, was Wade at shortstop. They gave Kim a day off, and then it was Cronenworth second base, Arise at first base, Solano at third. With Manny DHing today. Look, we've sort of talked at length about this, and look, the Padres have essentially too many infielders. So, for not enough spots, both on the infield and in their lineup. So, look, yesterday, you look at what they did. The guy who was sort of the odd man out was Solano, because you had Cronenworth at first base, you had Bogarts at second, you had Kim at short, Machado at third, and then the DH was Arise. So, the issue, as we've talked about at length before, the issue, and let's assume Kim is playing shortstop for this discussion. When Manny's at third, then it's fairly simple. Bogarts at second, Arise at first, and Bogarts at second, Cronenworth at first, Arise is your DH. Where it gets tricky is if Manny is your DH, because then what happens? Let's use today as a bit of an example. Solano played third. Let's say for today Kim played short. He didn't, but let's for today's argument, Kim played shortstop, and then it was Cronenworth at second, Arise at first base. So now, today it kind of worked out, because I think this was the plan all along, to give Bogarts a day off today after he returned to the lineup yesterday. But on a day where he's not normally going to get a day off, yeah, he was the odd man out today, essentially. So, yeah, it sets up a situation where you are going to have an everyday and/or really productive player, and that's Solano right now, on the bench. Now, I've talked about it. In theory, if Xander's hitting, if Cronenworth is hitting, if Arise is hitting, if Manny's doing what he does, if Kim is playing pretty well, hypothetically, it makes you a deeper team. Hypothetically, it makes you a better team to have a guy like Donovan Solano starting here and there and also coming off the bench on most days. Hypothetically, you are a better, deeper team if everybody is producing and doing their job. Look, where it becomes interesting, is this. If Kim continues to not have a great offensive season, is there a scenario, and I'm just asking the question, is there a scenario, and I don't know the answer to this, is there a scenario where they'd be willing to play Bogarts at shortstop on some days, and you could play Solano at third, and Manny could be your DH, and then Cronenworth is at second base, and Arise is at first, and that's sort of a way to get all those guys, Solano, Machado, Cronenworth, Arise, and Bogarts, those five in the lineup together. The only way, that really happens if, the only way that really happens, like if Manny's at third, is if Kim's not playing and Bogarts is going to play short, which, again, I don't know the feasibility to that. I don't know if it's something they want to do. I don't know if it's something they want Xander to do at this point after they've already moved him to second base. I'm just kind of spitballing here. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting scenario the rest of the way to see how they manage this infield day in, day out. Because, look, the bottom line is this. Donovan Solano's been really good. He had 2 more hits today. He had a big stolen base. It is very hard to ignore how productive of a player Donovan Solano has been. He's hitting .291 on the year, and he's just been, when he's in there, an impactful, productive player. And I understand if you're out there saying, man, he's got to sort of be in the lineup a lot. I get it. I don't know the perfect answer to it, because there are a lot of other guys the Padres need to be in the lineup every day right now. So we'll see how they manage it. I'm not quite sure how they're going to manage it day to day, but we're going to find out how they exactly kind of tinker and manage through the infield situation right now, where they have essentially too many guys for too few spots, and I guess all in all, it's a good problem to have, but it's also an interesting problem to have. All right, when we come back here on the Padres Radio Network, we'll take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. You'll hear our play of the game. We'll also hear from Dylan Cease one more time, who was excellent here today. 6 shutout innings. You'll hear my conversation with Dylan. Again, the final score here today, Padres 4, Braves nothing. More postgame after this. Postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score on this Saturday. Padres 4 and the Braves nothing. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. As we wrap this one up, we'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard in a moment. We'll also hear from Dylan Cease one more time. He was terrific here today. Picks up his 8th win of the season. 6 brilliant innings from Dylan Cease. You'll hear our play of the game in a moment as well, and we'll finish up with a couple of phone calls here in just a bit. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores today from around the major leagues. We have a number of finals, so let's get to those first. Tigers beat the Dodgers 11-9 in Detroit. The final in 10. Gio Urshela, a walk-off home run to beat the Dodgers in that one by a final score of 11-9 in 10 innings. Mets beat the Rockies 7-3 in New York. Francisco Lindor, 3-run home run in that game for the Mets. Pirates beat the White Sox 6-2 in Chicago. Cardinals and the Cubs played a doubleheader today. Cardinals won game 1 11-3. 9 runs in the first inning in that game for St. Louis. Game 2 of that doubleheader is going on right now. Cardinals leading 5-4 in the top half of the 9th inning. So the Cardinals on the verge of sweeping that doubleheader. We'll let you know if that game goes final while we're on the air. Yankees beat the Orioles 6-1 in Baltimore. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, back-to-back home runs in that one. Phillies beat the A's 11-5 in Philadelphia. Bryce Harper, a home run in that game for the Phillies. Guardians beat the Rays 4-2 in Tampa Bay. Red Sox beat the Royals 5-0 at Fenway Park. Rafael Devers, a solo home run in that one. Reds beat the Marlins 10-6 in Cincinnati. Rhys Hines, 2 more home runs. The rookie, this guy's played for like a week. And how many home runs does he have now? I got to look this up. Rhys Hines already has 5 home runs. Hold on, we got to do a deeper dive of this. How many games has he actually played? He's got 5 home runs in 6 games. He's a rookie. He made his major league debut like a week ago. 5 home runs, 3 doubles, a triple, 11 RBIs in 6 major league games. That's unbelievable. Wow. 10-6. The Reds beat the Marlins as this rookie, Rhys Hines, goes deep twice more. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Rangers beat the Astros 2-1 in Houston, the final in 10. Nationals beat the Brewers 6-5 in Milwaukee. C.J. Abrams, a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning for the Nationals. Other finals, Twins beat the Giants 4-2 in San Francisco. Carlos Santana, a home run in that game for Minnesota. By the way, game 2 of that doubleheader just went final in St. Louis. So the Cardinals win 5-4. Cardinals sweep that doubleheader from the Cubs. And a couple of games going on right now. Angels 2, Mariners 1 in Anaheim in the 5th inning. Diamondbacks lead the Blue Jays 3-1 in Arizona in the 3rd. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday across the major leagues. All right, before we hear from Dylan Cease once more, and before we hear our play of the game, let's wrap up with a couple of phone calls here. Let's go to Lance, who's calling in. I understand Lance was at the game here today on the way back to Oceanside. Lance, you're on the Padres postgame show.
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Doing great, Lance. How are you?
Oh, I am fantastic, thanks. I'm, driving back up to Oceanside from the game. It was lovely. I didn't have to bear with the Fox commentators today. The sun's going down here in Carlsbad. It's a lovely day in our beautiful city.
All right, great.
Thanks to you and Frank for everything you do. Love listening to you guys. I want to single out Luis Arraez.
Mm-hmm.
Watching him in person is a lovely thing. It's obviously fun to watch him on television where you can see him scanning the field. But I actually want to single out his defense. He is I felt, been held up to some fair scrutiny when he's playing first base. But watching him today, especially his hang a star play, he's a very smart defender. He's a very capable defender, and I think that gets lost sometimes, understandably so, against his batting prowess.
Yeah, look, and appreciate the phone call, Lance. Look, Arise made a couple of really nice plays today. There was that one in the fifth inning, diving down the line, flipping to Cease to end the fifth inning. He's had his moments. He's also had some rough moments at first base. You know, I don't know that anybody's going to confuse him for a Gold Glover at first, but, you know, to be fair about it, you know, it's not his first position. I mean, this guy's really a second baseman at his core, and that's what he's been the majority of his career. He's played first base before, but it's not his primary position. He's playing there now because of the injury to Bogaerts and the way it had to be configured. Now, he's going to not play nearly as much first base here in all likelihood moving forward, because you're going to have Bogaerts at second base most days and Cronenworth at first base, and Arise on most days, I think, is going to be this team's DH. But I'm with you. He's had some nice moments over there at first base. He's had some rough moments too, but today certainly he made a couple of really nice plays, including that great play in the fifth inning. And look, the most important part of Luis's game, let's be honest, it's the bat and the hits. And today, 3 hits, RBI double in the fifth inning. This was certainly his best game in a while. Luis came into this one. Let me pull it up here. He came into this one 1 for his last 17, batting just .216 since the start of July, .247 since the beginning of June. It's now a span of 150 at-bats coming into today. So he needed this one here today. 3 hits, hit the ball hard a handful of times. Look, I know he hasn't come out and said it like, you know, out loud to a bunch of reporters. I will read you the tweet, though, from our Andy Heilbrunn earlier today, who caught up with Luis earlier today. And I think it's worth noting with Arise. This was Annie's tweet. Luis Arise has been playing through thumb pain for the last month after jamming it. Said it affects hitting, throwing, everything. Trainers have been working on it, and it's taped for games, but it's not helping much. He's hopeful rest during the All-Star break will do it good. So, look, we've kind of surmised this after the shoulder issue, after the thumb issue that we knew about, but didn't seem like a huge deal. Look, I think a lot of us have surmised that he may not be playing at 100%, and he's just a guy who does not have stretches like he's had lately. He just doesn't have them. You don't hit 350 if you have stretches like this very often, at least, or for very long. So I think it's pretty clear he's not been at 100%. You hope that sort of explains what we've seen, and hopefully the All-Star break does him some good. We saw what he is in that first 3-4 week span when he showed up in San Diego. Like, that's the guy who Luis Arise is and has been. I'm really not overly concerned with him in the big picture. I'm not. I just, again, when you read Annie's tweet and you understand there's been an injury there, I think it sort of explains the struggles and pretty precisely. So, we'll see what the rest of his year looks like, but it was very good to see him today collect 3 hits, Lance, to your point, play very good defense, and he was definitely a big-time contributor today in this 4-0 win. Let's wrap things up. Let's go to Gonzo, an OB calling in. Gonzo, you'll have the final word here today on the Padres postgame show. How are you?
I'm doing all right, Tammy. Good evening. DJ Nooch, good evening. Fire Faithful. Love you guys. Chat, love you. Shout out, Rod. Thank you for yesterday. But today's win, I think, was really important. Other than breaking our losing skid, that gives us the season series against the Braves.
Yeah, good
I believe. And then with the Mets playing a lot better, they can flip-flop with still so much baseball left in the year,
Yeah, it's a good point, Gonzo, and it's something we've talked about a handful of times. And Gonzo, as always, appreciate the phone call, appreciate your listenership and viewership. I know you're a big YouTube guy. You're right. The Padres, with the win today, are now 4-2 against Atlanta. So even if they lose tomorrow, that would be 4-3 on the year against the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, it's important, and we've talked about it before. I think we talked about it at the time, like about the Cubs series. Now, the Cubs have not played well at all, but these things are important. We don't really focus on them the day-to-day of the season. But, yeah, look, there's a world in which the Padres and the Braves are battling for a wild card spot, whether that's the first spot or the second spot or the third and final spot. Yeah, anything's possible. So having the season series against them, can be very important when it's all said and done. We don't tend to think about it a ton, I think, when these series happens because, in a lot of cases, nowadays sometimes you're done playing a team by May. Or, in this case, you're done playing a team by mid-July, and you're just not thinking that way. But, yeah, it has the potential to be very, very important because that season series, that's the first tiebreaker when you tie for a postseason spot. So it can be, in certain scenarios, incredibly important. It's a good point, Gonzo. We'll see how it all shakes out, but you never know. That 4-whatever record, it's going to be a winning record. Either at this point it's going to be 4-3 or 5-2 against the Braves. When it's all said and done, could be very important. There's no doubt about that. All right, let's just finish up here with a couple of tweets. We've got Char on Twitter saying, love Peralta, but our car ride home is disagreeing. We think it was Cease. Well, look, you take your pick for player of the game. Cease was awesome, as we've said. 6 innings, brilliant. No runs, 1 hit, walked 3, struck out 11. I just felt like we talked a lot about Dylan already today, so I wanted to give some shine to Peralta. That was really my thinking there. So 3 hits, 2 RBIs for Peralta. But certainly Dylan Cease, a very deserving player of the game tonight. So I totally agree with the car, disagreeing with me. Yes, Dylan could very easily, and a strong case for player of the game here today. Daniel saying, not sure if you mentioned this already, pretty proud of Morejon today, coming in a high-leverage spot. Interesting to see Estrada before him. Happy for Morejon. We did talk about it, Daniel, when we went through our relief pitcher of the game. I'm with you. Thought it was interesting today to see Morejon, again, just in that very traditional bridge the gap to Suarez setup role. You look at how they used them. Look, the Padres, and we talked about the trio of Estrada, Morejon, and Suarez being really dynamic and potentially really elite at the back end of this bullpen in a close game. I think the really nice part about having Estrada and Morejon, a righty and a lefty, as your primary setup guys, is that you can mix and match. You can look at a lineup and say, okay, I want Estrada for the 7th inning. Okay, I want Morejon for the 8th inning. Now, look, there could have been some lefty-righty in that today. 7th inning, there were 2 righties leading off the 7th. Maybe that's why the Padres went to Estrada in the 8th inning. Look, if it's not going to be Estrada in the 8th inning, you knew it was going to be Morejon in the 8th inning. But still, you had a lefty in Kelnick, the second batter of that inning. Albies, the switch hitter. So, could have been a spot there in the 7th inning where the Padres are looking at it saying, you know what, let's pitch Estrada in the 7th because you've got Ozuna and Duvall, right-handed hitters, to lead off that 7th inning. So, look, it's kind of nice. It's potentially a real advantage that you could match up a little bit, whether it's in the course of an inning or when you have a couple of innings to cover like they did today in the 7th and the 8th to get it to Suarez. Kind of nice. It has the potential to be a real advantage for this team. And Daniel, I talked about it plenty. Yeah, the Morejon story is a really good one. When you talk about his progression this year, really figuring it out and becoming a real, reliable, high-leverage setup guy. It's been a very, very nice story for this bullpen and this team. Let's hear today's play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
2-2, hit in the air to deep center field. Kelnick is going back on the warning track. He's at the wall, gonna go! 3rd hit of the game for Machado, a big one. A homer here in the 8th, and the Padre lead is 4-0.
Manny Machado, the home run in the 8th inning, gave the Padres some insurance, made it go from a 3-0 game to a 4-0 game. 13th home run of the year for Manny Machado, who had a very nice day. 3 hits in this one, including that home run. 3 hits for Arise, 3 hits for Peralta, 3 hits for Manny. And that was our play of the game. Give the Padres some breathing room late to straightaway center. Very nice moment for Manny. Again, big headline here today. Dylan Cease, 6 scoreless innings, 1 hit allowed, walked 3, struck out 11, 106 pitches, 69 for strikes. He was brilliant here today. Couple of really nice outings to wrap up his first half of the season. Had the 7 innings, 3 runs given up the last time out, where he was really good aside from an early and late home run. And here today, this is the Dylan Cease the Padres need in the second half. There's no secret about that. They need Dylan Cease to be this kind of guy in the second half. So important to this rotation and this team. I caught up with Dylan on the field right after the game. Dylan, a terrific outing here today. 6 innings, 1 hit given up, 11 strikeouts. What was the most important element of what you did here today?
I think, throwing strikes is the biggest one. I did walk a couple guys, but just pounding the zone and being aggressive.
Let's talk about a couple of those walks. In the 4th inning, you get into trouble. How were you able to navigate yourself out of that situation?
I think just focus and attack. It's my misses didn't feel like they were very big, so I kind of just felt like I was in a good spot, and basically just don't panic and keep attacking.
2 really nice outings to finish the first half. How do you feel like this sets you up moving forward into the second half?
Yeah, it's great. Today was what I've been really looking for, so I'm happy it happened, and we got to keep it rolling.
Finally, another sold-out crowd here at Petco Park. What has it been like for you to pitch in front of these types of crowds?
It's amazing. It's like, it truly is the major leagues, loud, electric, and just supportive. It's such an amazing atmosphere to pitch in.
Dylan, great job here today. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was Dylan Cease right after this Padres win 4-0 over the Atlanta Braves. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, final game of this 3-game series, rubber game of this 3-game series, and the final game of the first half. Then we hit the All-Star break. I'm not complaining. I could use a few days off, to be honest with you. But we've got one more tomorrow. First pitch tomorrow at 1:10 p.m. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show from right here inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park at 12:10. Pitching matchup tomorrow, All-Star left-hander Chris Sale on the mound for the Braves. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Again, we'll talk to you at 12:10 p.m. with the pregame show tomorrow. As always, if you missed any of our postgame coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt. Find it on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back and watch any of our postgame coverage on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Taking a look at the final totals here today. For the Padres, 4 runs, 13 hits, no errors. They left on 6. For the Braves, no runs, 5 hits, no errors. They left on 8. Winning pitcher in this game, Dylan Cease, who improves to 8-8. Losing pitcher was Reynaldo Lopez, who drops to 7-3. Time of game, 2 hours, 32 minutes. And the crowd here at Petco Park, the 31st sellout of 2024. Another outstanding crowd. Our total attendance, 43,097. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 1:10 p.m. Pre-game coverage begins at 12:10. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Nick Danucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from Petco Park. Again, the final score here today, the San Diego Padres 4 and the Atlanta Braves 0. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your night, everybody.